This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Burgamy.
All right, as always, thank you for electronically bringing us into your humble abode. We welcome you into ours. Like the man said, I am Ray DeLessio.
And I am Kenny Burgamy, and this here is what's coming up on the program. It may not look like much now, but in the future, this plot of land will feature raised garden beds, a hoop house, and pollinators, all with the purpose of serving those less fortunate throughout Cobb County. At the tender age of 95, you'd think this Farm Bureau icon would put the daily grind of farm life behind him, right? Wrong. Henry West on what keeps him going day in and day out.
And then later, can you name this odd-looking fruit? Well, you'd have to search long and hard to find it growing here in the States, but you can taste it, or at least a byproduct of it, at a popular Georgia coffee shop. These stories and so much more start right now on the Farm Monitor.
But first, let's begin in Perry, where recently Georgia Farm Bureau played host to its annual County President's Conference. With agriculture being the state's #1 industry, having a unified voice for farmers is essential for the well-being of Georgia. And as the Monitor's Damon Jones reports, that voice and those farmers is what the conference is all about.
With agriculture being so diverse and spread out across Georgia, bringing together industry leaders to discuss issues facing different areas of the state can be challenging. However, it's a gap the GFB President's Conference looks to bridge by gathering the more than 150 county presidents under one roof.
The good thing about getting all the presidents from all over the state together in one room is they get to know each other. We have a good many new presidents that were elected back in the fall. This is our first conference here. We want the guy from South Georgia to know the guy in North Georgia, so they'll be able to talk to each other and know who they're talking to, especially when it comes to maybe a legislative issue that we need help all over the state.
That type of cooperation between farmers will not only help them on their operations, but also strengthen an already heavy presence in the legislative arena.
Our people up there are top-notch and trusted and reputable, so we want to get all our people to be able to help them take care of farmers. Farmers are who we look after. That is our main goal, is our members and our farmers, and that's what we all get together and talk about what we can do better to help promote the largest industry in the state.
Aside from the networking, a number of informational sessions were also available, such as connecting with the younger generation and a new priority issue, the mental well-being of farmers.
They say that farming and forestry and other ag-related professions is the most stressful industry. And we found that actually about 65% of first-generation farmers are having thoughts of suicide at least once per month. So the data is extremely startling. We're trying to look in how to support different demographics like first-generation farmers, like female farmers, farmers of color, who have a different and unique set of stressors.
While an uncomfortable topic to discuss, having a more open dialogue is the first step in combating the problem.
You are your best asset on your farm, and without you, there is no farming. And so I think it's something as simple as talking about ag safety on the farm is really how you fold into talking about this issue. But if we don't talk about it, we're not going to address the stigma. And so we're trying to do more sessions and presentations like this, working with County Farm Bureau leadership so it is a topic of conversation and people feel more comfortable sharing what they're going through.
With so many different commodities and regions of the state represented at this annual event, the takeaway is really quite simple.
I want us to be able to take ideas back home, whether it be from north, middle, south, wherever from in the state of Georgia, and use those ideas from different people that we may not have heard to follow along on the 85 years and growing to make us grow better over the next years for our future generations.
Reporting from Houston County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Meantime, Cobb County Farm Bureau has officially broken ground on their new wellness garden, a half-acre plot right outside their county office. It's dedicated to growing produce for those in need around the area. And as County President Stan Kirk says, it will also provide learning opportunities for the metro community.
We want them to come here and see them grow and be able to see how it works and then benefit from getting these fruits and vegetables and learning how to use them. So we want to be an educational tool, but we just want a place where we can grow food for our community and then have education classes to teach them how to prepare the food, how to cook the food, how to use the food, how the food will make them more healthy.
As you know, Georgia is one of the leading cotton producing states, and its economic impact on our economy is absolutely huge. In Tifton recently, growers came together for the Georgia Cotton Commission's annual meeting to discuss important information that will help keep the industry profitable. John Holcomb has that story.
At the University of Georgia's Tifton Conference Center, cotton producers, industry professionals, and experts recently gathered for their annual meeting, a time for producers to fellowship, get updates on the industry, and hear from experts before the 2023 season gets underway.
It's just an event to gather to try to gather as many cotton producers from across the state as humanly possible in one place at one time to discuss what's going on in the cotton industry for 2023 and beyond, as well as a time to gather for fellowship, meet with our extension specialists and extension agents to learn about new farming techniques and practices and technologies as we make plans for 2023. We're good at growing cotton here in Georgia, so they're looking to find ways to pinch a penny without cutting a corner, to continue to produce that sustainable, high-quality crop as we move into the next year and beyond.
Perhaps the most anticipated part of the meeting each year are the cotton production workshops, where growers can hear from experts like Camp Hand, extension cotton specialist with UGA, who spoke to producers about the upcoming year. Hand says growers need to be making the most of every dollar, as input costs are still high, and the price of cotton is down at least 40 cents from where it was last year.
Even though inputs were high, cotton prices were high. Almost a year ago, the contract price of cotton was $1.30, which is really good. I mean, it's been a long time since it was over $1. But now we're looking down the barrel of a situation where the contract price for December is about 85, 90 cents maybe, and input prices hadn't gone down that much. And so margins are going to be a little thinner for our guys.
According to Amanda Smith, a senior public service associate with UGA, one big concern for producers this year is the drastic increase in interest rates, an issue that Smith says could double interest expenses for producers.
Last year, interest rates may have been around 4.5% for some producers, and this year it may be between 7 and 9%. And so their interest expense has increased significantly from last year. And so maybe they had interest expense of $50,000 on an operating note last year. This year it could potentially be $100,000. And that is dramatic, thinking that they haven't increased their operation size or they're not farming more acres. It's the same size of acres that they're farming, but a much bigger expense because of interest alone.
It's because of that reason, Smith says growers, more importantly than ever before, need to know their cost of production for the year so they can make decisions that will best keep them financially sound.
More important than ever is to know cost of production. And when producers know their cost of production, then they can have an idea of what their break-even price is. And so if they know their break-even price and they can potentially market it above that break-even price, they know they're covering their costs and going to make some positive margin.
Reporting in Tifton for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
John, thanks so much. Still to come on the show, the destructive pest that's attacking a large portion of the country's lettuce supply. But first,
I don't have no intention of slowing down. I don't see no way unless time just gets where we can't make it.
his contributions to Georgia Farm Bureau worthy of an entire show, really. A heartwarming conversation with Mr. Henry West when the Farm Monitor continues.
Congratulations to Rachel Stewart, the 2022 D.W. Brooks Faculty Award winner for Excellence in Public Service Extension. Rachel Stewart has served as the Family and Consumer Sciences Agent and County Coordinator for the University of Georgia Cooperative Extension in Tattnall County since 2013. She holds a bachelor's degree in Child and Family Development and a master's degree in Education with an emphasis in Instructional Technology, both from Georgia Southern University. She began her career in Tattnall County as the 4-H Youth Development Agent in 2002. Now a Senior Public Service Associate for UGA, Stewart is known for her extensive programming efforts in child safety and injury prevention with a concentration on child passengers and teen drivers. Her research study, Child Passenger Safety with Culturally Diverse Audiences, was published in the Journal of the National Extension Association of Family and Consumer Sciences in 2019. Stewart is known for enhancing scholarly work efforts among county extension faculty, receiving invitations to speak at 3 national professional conferences. As project coordinator and co-author of the Healthy Georgia Wellness Curriculum, Stewart developed a 14-lesson series to assist with employee wellness programs and community education. The curriculum addresses wellness as a whole, from financial to physical health, and her work in wellness programming has been recognized with 5 national awards. Stewart is passionate about her work and enjoys opportunities to provide public service in her community.
"95 trips around the sun." Think about that for a minute. For Georgia Farm Bureau pioneer Henry West, it's a journey that began in 1927. His contributions to the organization, not to mention the accolades he's received, way too many to list. But even more impressive is that despite what his birth certificate says, Mr. Henry refuses to let anything stop him from doing what he loves most, and that's driving his tractor and working the land every chance he gets. On his son's farm in Rydell, Georgia, one of the first things that greets you is this: a sign that reads, "The best memories are made on the farm." Henry West agrees, and having spent the majority of his life on a farm, Henry has a lot of memories, most of which are good ones.
Well, I grew up about 2 miles south of here, and in '59, my dad, he retired, so I bought his farm. I bought this here in '54. And I started in chicken business. Then we rode turkeys. I've been all around. And now we're in cattle and hay mostly.
And you've been around it for so long. What are some of the biggest changes that you've seen taking place?
Well, a lot of people moved in. Farms have changed. Farming is going out really around here. All down in around 41, down through there, big warehouses. And around here, a lot of houses, all the farms cutting up, going into houses, people moving in.
No, it's certainly not the Gordon County he left behind in 1948 to join the Army. But then again, Henry will be the first to tell you he's a person who values change and progress. Maybe that explains why in 1971, long after his military days were over, Henry made a life-changing decision to join Farm Bureau. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Well, we first started off as president of the county out here, and we kept growing and growing, and we got a good field man, and so he talked me into running for board one time, and I didn't think I had time, but you make time. Somehow or another, it always works out. But I enjoyed the board, I enjoyed the people.
"37 years of service as president of the Gordon County Farm Bureau." So says the plaque on the building which forever bears his name. And yet, Henry has never wavered about where his heart truly lies. And that's on a farm, in a tractor, basically anything to do with agriculture.
You're going to be 95, but yet you want to be out there every single day if you can. You know, you want to get in that tractor. Where's the drive and the determination come from?
I don't know. Just willpower, I guess.
It's all willpower?
I just don't like to sit around.
And do you credit farm life, with 95 years of prosperity and good health?
Yeah, I was in the grocery business one to start with, and I didn't like that. I got out here in the country, and I don't have no intention of slowing down. I don't see no way unless time just gets where we can't make it.
And when you look back at your contributions, whether it be a policy or, stuff that you helped with here in the county, what are you most proud of?
Oh, I don't know, just a lot of good people helping, a lot of courage, I guess.
He is definitely an amazing man, let me tell you. Well, don't forget, if you missed any part of this story or others on today's program, you can still see them in their entirety at our YouTube channel, The Farm Monitor. Once there, you'll find everything from instructional videos to research, as well as some very inspirational human interest stories, and best of all, the archive dates all the way back to 2009.
And once you're done there, keep clicking and like the Farm Monitor Facebook page. We always tell people, if you have a story idea or if you just want to leave us a comment or suggestion, send us a message either on Facebook or the address that is on your screen, that is news@farm-monitor.com.
Well, they're smaller than a grain of rice, but doing millions of dollars in damages to much of the world's lettuce crop.
Up next, what researchers are learning about thrips and the disease that they're spreading. Plus, coffee bean farming. It's big business in Ecuador, and the inspiration it provided to this local entrepreneur has proven to be very successful. That story when the Farm Monitor continues.
INSV, also known as Impatiens necrotic spot virus, is a virus that is transmitted by the insect called the western flower thrips, and it infects a wide range of different plants. Originally, it was identified in impatiens plants, which is an ornamental plant. But within the last 10 to 15 years, we've seen the emergence of this in a lot of fruit and vegetable crops, including lettuce here in the Salinas Valley. Here we have the western flower thrips, which is the primary vector for the virus. And it's the adult stage that transmits the virus, but it is the youngest larval stage that is necessary for them to acquire the virus. The lettuce that comes out of this region supplies well over 60% of all of the lettuce in the United States, but it also has a major role in providing international supply as well. The virus has caused millions of dollars in losses, and in 2020 we estimated somewhere close to $100 million that were lost. Also in previous years we've estimated that close to, in terms of pest management costs for a grower within the year, costs were increased by 10 to 15%, primarily due to costs to make pesticide applications. And so it's impacting not only the food, but also the economics and everyone that's involved, both from farm to table. What we've done so far to address this issue in lettuce crops is to understand spatial and temporal patterns of where it occurs and where outbreaks occur throughout the Salinas Valley. And we've disseminated this knowledge to the industry, and so we have a little better idea of when we can expect it. The other thing that we've really addressed is the host range. So we've done extensive surveys throughout the Salinas Valley and identified numbers of different plant species that can also be infected by the virus. And that's important because those can also serve as reservoirs from which thrips can acquire the virus and then transmit it to lettuce crops.
Finally this week, from the hardworking farmers in Ecuador to the team here in Georgia, that is the foundation Z-Beans Coffee was built upon.
Yeah, interestingly enough, its founder, Shane Bierster, started his college trek with dreams of a career in baseball. But as Jennifer Parson tells us, a mission trip carved out a different path for Shane.
So this is a mural that's common at a lot of our coffee shops, and so this first here on the left, that's Arturo.
Shane Bierster's journey in business started as a student at Mercer University.
I started Z-Beans after a Mercer on mission trip the summer of 2016. So we went down to Ecuador to see if coffee was a viable alternative to gold mining.
He took a Spanish class and an economic class while studying abroad. That's where he met Arturo. Arturo toured him around the country, introducing him to coffee farmers in the area.
Agriculture in Ecuador really is life.
They left that first trip with the conclusion that they couldn't supply enough coffee in just that one town. But the mission wasn't over yet. After countless weekly conversations with his tour guide turned friend, the idea of exporting coffee not just from one town, but from many was born. His journey started with coffee only, but that wasn't enough for Shane. While the coffee business was doing well, it only provided work for the local residents once a year.
And so what I wanted to do is try to find a way to create daily job. And what I landed on was chocolate. My focus has been, since building Z-Beans, is to make one thing a non-negotiable, and that is that we're going to pay our farmers really well for the hard work that they're putting in to produce quality product.
And in January of 2020, they opened their own chocolate processing facility in Zaruma, the namesake, or rather where the Z in Z-Beans comes from.
We do all of the processing, at the chocolate factory. Just like our coffee, we buy from small farmers throughout Ecuador, and we process it down and refine it to 1 kilogram blocks. And so these 1 kilo blocks are 100% chocolate, so very strong, very bitter, but we then take that down and melt it down into our chocolate sauce.
The process is similar to that of coffee, taking weeks for the cacao beans to dry.
Once you remove the nibs from the mazorca, it'll have the same kind of viscous substance around it, and then you can actually suck on them, and it's really sweet, or it can be kind of sour, depending on the variety of the chocolate. You'll allow it to ferment in huge vats, and then put them on drying beds so they could, completely dry out. Just like coffee, it'll have this chaff that'll come off of it, and so you want to willow away and remove all of the chaff, and then once you have, that, you're able to just crush down the cocoa nibs, and you crush them, blow out all the chaff that remains, crush more, blow out the chaff that remains, and then run it through a grinder. And we just keep grinding it until it starts separating the ground nibs versus the cocoa butter. The butter is a liquid form that'll come out with the chocolate. From there, Arturo will put them into molds, and then from the molds, we'll allow them to harden.
They export the chocolate to the U.S. in big coolers. It's important for the chocolate to be very hard before its trip to the States so it doesn't arrive in a big melted mess.
Once it gets here, we'll freeze the kilos of chocolate down and then put them into our mixture that we have for our sauce. We bottle it up and then distribute it directly to our coffee shops.
They use that chocolate sauce in their mochas and hot chocolates.
Our mochas and hot chocolates definitely taste different than what other coffee shops may offer. But it's something that I'm proud of, and a difference that I was willing to withstand, because I know the hard work and the quality of the product that we're able to push out.
Don't just take his word for it. Try a mocha or hot chocolate yourself at one of the several Z-Beans locations in Georgia. In Bibb County, I'm Jennifer Parson, reporting for the Farm Monitor.
Jennifer, thanks so much. Before we go now, a quick reminder that for all the latest ag news regarding food, recipes, and what's happening across Georgia farms, be sure you check out all of our social media platforms, including farm-monitor.com. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor.
Stay safe, and as always, have a great week.